If you can't trust Gavin with his best friend's wife, how can you trust him with your state?
I want to make it clear that everything you've heard and read is true. And I am deeply sorry about that. I've hurt someone I care deeply about, Alex Turk, his friends and family. And that is something that I have to live with and something that I am deeply sorry for. I'm also sorry that I've let the people of San Francisco down. They expect a lot of their mayor, and my personal lapse of judgment aside, I am committed to restoring their trust and confidence, and will work very hard in the upcoming months to make sure that the business of running the city is framed appropriately. I also want to...
Wasn't framed appropriately at first, I guess. You know what? The thing about it is, to be so hard on any body from either side is kind of ridiculous, because this kind of shit happen all the time. A lot of them have things going on or have had things going on that we don't know about, and we may never know about. It don't make them innocent, but it don't make them guilty because we don't know about it. But when he says things like, I owned up to it, you know, I know he feel like, in his opinion, he did the honorable thing. He didn't. Because he had time to go and do something like that. That's that low. That's some low shit. But that you're a mayor of San Francisco when you're doing this. That's like not an abuse of power. It's negligence is what it is. It's just negligence. Your mind and your energy is somewhere else and not where it needs to be. And you're an elected official, and subsequent to having that affair with your friend's spouse, your subordinate, you go on to become governor of California. This Democratic state needs to rethink that shit. Black people in this state need to rethink people like Gavin Newsom who lie. He openly lies. He don't give a fuck. And we need to take it for what it is and handle him appropriately. He could run for president. He could even run for president with the support of black people, with us voting in huge numbers like we always do. But there could be one caveat. We ask him for something and begin doing that nationwide, in local, in statewide, and in federal contests. We have to start asking for shit. We have to start acting so the communities that we live in will look like us. So the laws that are made will favor us when we're in majorities, like everyone else. If it's your community, it should favor you. Your community shouldn't be a place where all the donut shops and fried chicken joints and barbecue places and all that other stuff that kills you is predominantly owned by someone else. And someone who isn't even a citizen of the United States in some cases, but when they are, they immigrated to the United States, or maybe second generation. It's cool. As long as you're here legally and you're a citizen, I get it. I ain't got no problem with that. But what I got a problem with is, how can the black people in these communities for decades just walk around in circles and never get on the other side of the cash register? Unless they're robbing the place. But never be on the side of the proprietor. Isn't that weird? And Gavin Newsom has been our governor long enough and gaslighted us by making that commission to get the reparations study done. They did their job, turned it back over to him, and he put it on the back burner because Kamala Harris was running and he didn't want to bring no reparations talk up in the middle of a political season like that, a presidential political season. Okay, she lost. Now, why won't he resurrect that? Because he believes that he can get the support of black Democrats in California without doing anything for them. Point blank, period. That's the truth. He really believes that we don't give a fuck. We're going to vote for him because we vote blue no matter who. And if we don't, we'll vote blue rather than what Donald Trump is putting out there. Oh my God, we got to get some Democrats in there to offset this, what do they call it, this king, this dictator. We got to do it. That's just what we got to, that's bullshit. Do you guys really feel that the country is that much different now than it was? This man is doing tariffs and done added money to the deficit. And this, look, we just cruising on along. They threatening us with sky high prices and, well, a sanction and a fucking, what is this motherfucker doing? Tariffs, and then don't you call it tariffs? They're tax. Whatever. When I was in school, they taught us a tariff was a tax. Did that shit change? Because the problem with the taxes and the tariffs is this, you guys. They've always used tariffs because you can't just let a country come in and sell tea in your country and you don't get nothing off the top for allowing that to happen. You're providing them with a benefit, and then part of the trade deal should include a tariff. And the Democrats are out and openly lying to people and making them feel like tariff. What's a tariff? Oh, we don't do tariff. No, we do. But I believe a small part of what Trump and the Republicans are saying about us getting kind of the short end of the stick. You know, I mean, we're the citizens of the country, and whatever politics you guys do internationally or just nationally, it affects the jobs, the housing, our incomes, our livelihoods. And there's no way anybody who's been in politics for the last or over the last 30 years can say that the average American, middle class, would testify in a court of law that things are better now than they were 30 years ago. And if they're not, and you were around 30 years ago and you're still around, and it's gone downward, the homeless, it's gotten worse. The disparity between black people and white people, it's gotten farther. Everything's increased that's bad, and everything that's good has gotten smaller. So what are we supposed to do? Continue to vote for Democrats without asking them to do anything. We're never going to go anywhere because they're never going to do anything for us. And we haven't been asking. Now it's time we start asking, holding their feet to the fire and getting ours like other folks are getting theirs. If they're fighting this hard for the illegal immigrants before they become citizens, what's going to happen once they become citizens? Wow. I mean, that is quite a welcome. Yeah, I might say. But I just feel like we should be thinking about ourselves in those terms. You know, not that we should be sitting around hating on people. And you should understand some people deserve certain things for certain reasons. And they go through the fire to do what they do to make it happen. But sneaking into a country and then cutting in line is not acceptable at all. And we can't be sitting back and rooting and cheering. And the bad part about it is when you're a black person in the United States of America, you know, descending a slave black person, you just screwed all over, man. Everybody in the workplace is looking at us like they don't really understand us. You know, gosh, they have all the opportunities that everybody else do. I just don't get it. And then if you happen to be a nice guy and you're polite and get along generally well with everybody, you just don't understand why the rest of them aren't like old Clark over there. He's such a good guy. Because that's a fact, too. They feel we're doing okay, but some black people feel to speak in these terms is complaining. It's like, oh, man, you just complaining. No. You have to be made aware of the fact that the guy who will probably be representing the Democratic Party is not squeaky clean. He may be caught having an affair with one of his best friend's wives who worked for him. But what was he not caught for? And would we be fair to judge him in that way? He probably is doing other stuff. Yeah. Instead of saying, yeah, he just did that one thing in his whole life and everything else has been pretty good. So Gavin's all right. Which side would you fall on? Would you be more likely to believe? Would it be more likely to believe that Gavin Newsom might just not have the squeaky clean character that he's polished? He's a real politician. And he's not the guy that I would want to come in and take over right behind Trump, because I do believe that he is going to be offered some leeway to get away with more, because the next president coming in is going to be kind of frustrated, like, Jesus Christ, that man just ran through you people. And then this guy is going to come in and get the brakes slammed on him. They're going to make sure that they have checks in play. Watch the Republicans, how fiscally responsible they become, and how, they don't play that shit for these woke laws, and none of that stuff is gonna matter when things turn around. And one day they will, unfortunately. To have a third party, a viable third party in this country would be really nice. And it can't be just one group of people. This, as they call it, is a great experiment. Unfortunately, we, as far as we know, only get one life. So to be a part of an experiment, knowing that, this is your one crack at this, and not to just try to thrive and do well and enjoy and appreciate each day for what it is. A part of survival is progression. And that's what we need to do with every inch that we have available or made available to us. We need to capitalize on it, and we have to work harder at our struggle and at our fight. And we can have a big turnaround. We just need consistency amongst our people, because we all are on a lot of different pages and a whole lot of different ideas and way of thinking, because it's by design. It doesn't matter if the Republicans got you and you're black, or if the Democrats got you and you're black, or if you think you're an independent and they got you and you're black. None of that shit don't matter when it really come down to it, because the bottom line is they got you. If you can trace your chain of command in your social life, in your professional life, in your political life, all the way to the top, and you don't have no white people in it in no way, that's rare and it's a blessing. But for those of us who aren't that fortunate, and not by our own fault, and nothing you can do about it, it's the way it is in this country. They are in our dreams, our thoughts, our aspirations. And it's like a little presumptuous that anybody would ever have a meeting about us and sometime we're not there. Isn't that kind of weird? Even in workplaces. When I talk about black people, you say have one present, especially the one you're talking about. But it just bothers me that you can demonize a race of people like that. A race of people who were at one point enslaved in this country, and prior to that did other things prior to being enslaved. A whole history. They never want us to have a true understanding of our full picture, our full history. The parts that were suppressed, the have been mistaught, so other people will feel comfortable. What kind of school is that? How can that be higher education when people are so fragile that they have to punish another man and limit his ability to know himself? That just It's troublesome. And then we get back to Gavin. In reality, he's got almost everybody who voted Democrat last time, and probably a great deal of Republicans that might jump ship. I doubt it, but it could happen. He is not a strong candidate. I personally project that he wouldn't get through the primaries on top. Someone else would. But if he did come out on top, the Democrats play games. When they behind you, they behind you. And I believe right now that little stand-up thing that he did, redistricting, he got their ear. They love him. They liked him anyway, though, because he's crooked. He ain't a person who can be, straight laced and for the people and stand up and say this stuff out loud that they're back there talking about that we don't know. He's one of those in the back room whispering and talking. I've seen him enough times off camera to see his character and his presence on camera, and it's not genuine. It's polished, it's rehearsed, and it's fake. And it would be nice if we really had a feel for who he was, and I don't think that his political career will be going much further. It's kind of unfortunate though that he has gone as far to governor of California, and he's with the sanctuary, down with the sanctuary this and the sanctuary that, and anybody who's down with the sanctuary anything is putting an illegal immigrant in front of a United States citizen, any United States citizen, not just black ones, any of them. And that's something that shouldn't be happening on no level. It's wrong. And it's okay to say it's wrong. Is you don't have to feel guilty when you know you're in a place that if you don't own a home and own your own business and set your own hours and vacation every year with your family, the things that are normal for people to have goals and dreams and relaxation time and not feel guilty or not have to work throughout the year so other people can enjoy that stuff. It ain't right. And Gavin Newsom ain't trying to make it right. He ain't trying to make things where everybody can have a little slice of the pie. Everybody can understand, what it's like to be able to envision their American dream and work out a plan to actually achieve it. I don't think they too concerned about that. And I just think Gavin Newsom is a person that I can't see most black people that I know supporting, except for the fact that it's Gavin or this or Gavin or that. So then they start thinking, well, when you think about it, so if we can agree on that, which it is what it is. If he turns out to be the strongest candidate who looks like they can win, the Democrats are going to vote for him, and the black, the majority, 85% of the blacks or better, are gonna support him. But couldn't we support him and ask for something still? Couldn't we say, yeah, hell yeah, we supporting Gavin, we're gonna vote for him? But couldn't we ask for something? Would that make us fall from grace? Would the Democrats quit being our friend? Would they be like, nah, hell nah, that's fucked up. Y'all asking Gavin for something? That's messed up. Would they feel like we're double crossing them? You never asked before. I mean, what would they say to us? And what would we say? Or would we ever even do something like that? Ask for something. Like, wow, damn, Gavin, you're running for president. Remember that study you did in California? What's going on? Did you just abandon that? Was that what's going on? We need to holler out at him because he's gonna have to campaign in California. Yes, yes, Lordy, and we need to be on him. We do at every front. We need to be. He'll think he's getting what do you call it, backstabbed or set up or like, hey, that's a low question. When you're in politics, there are no low questions. The media should be able to ask anything they want to ask, even if it's some bullshit sometimes. Because sometimes they ask some bullshit ass questions, but that's on them. People get to see what kind of questions they asking and the bullshit they talking about, and they'll be like, nah, man, that channel right there, they be tripping. But if you get a person like Gavin Newsom in front of you, you got to hit him up. You got to be like, man, check this out. You know, this looks racist, and that look bad, and this look like you're not a quality person or honorable. And that's what bothers us. Bothers me. I don't like thinking somebody or a particular party is better than another party just because they Democrats and just because they Republicans. Oh, absolutely. Democrats are more honorable people because they're Democrats. Well, they just care about people, abortions, and you know all the stuff they care about. That's what makes them better. Lord Jesus, I just hope we can get through this, you know, and not him end up in the White House. If Gavin Newsom end up in the White House, it's going to be embarrassing for Democrats because he is not going to turn out to be no Abraham Lincoln or whatever the hell we trying to make him to be. Oh, yeah, he's a Democrat. Well, he ain't going to turn out to be Kennedy or no other president who Democrats really coalesced around and felt, hey, he's us. He's, you know, I guess you can't really relate to any of them. You know, never had a president that I felt I could relate to. That would be a nice feeling to vote for somebody because you feel that they got the instincts that will closely match yours, or they would do the things maybe that would make the country a little better, which would make everyone a little better. If you really make the country a little better, can't nobody knock that. But if you ain't making the country no better, or certain segments of it, and then other segments just fall further behind. Oh, hey, you guys are making the same money you were making 8 years ago. You ain't losing anything. We ain't gaining. You know, it's time to start looking at both sides of the coin and being realistic and quit letting the Democrats argue and push things into our head based on one side of an argument and without looking at the other side and telling us that the Republicans are racist and they have a horrible track record and have no right to be calling out anybody for racism at all. If black people want to say that, that's on black people. Black people can say, I think Democrats are racist and Republicans ain't, or I think Republicans are racist. You can say, a black person can say whatever. He may be well educated, he might be confused, or he might just be talking shit. Who knows? But they had a right to at least speak on it. Just say some shit, you know, fuck it. It's frustration. It's a lot of shit. PTSD, all that. But when white people speak on it, they need to understand what they're talking about. And Gavin Newsom is a cold dude to pique our interest and gain our support and our undivided attention in getting that study going. That makes you think, wow. I mean, we know how that's going to go. It's going to be in our favor. If they just say $10 each, and it's $10 we didn't have, whatever the hell, but something has to give. Everybody want to keep giving apologies. A true apology has to be followed by a good deed. Just a genuine deed. And you can't just say, I'm sorry. And what kind of shit is that? If your kid went out the house and stole somebody else's toys and you found out about it, and you just tell me, hey, you go over there and you tell little Melvin you're sorry. But you don't gotta get his shit back.
Extend a personal apology to everyone in our administration, to my staff that I just met with, to my friends and my family members. I am deeply sorry, and now will be working aggressively to advance our agenda in the city and to work hard to build, again, the trust, restore the trust that the people of San Francisco have afforded me.
Fact is, I made a decision that was a bad decision. I made a choice that was a choice that hurt people that I cared about. And that's something that I am coming to grips with. It's something I can't do over. And it's something for the rest of my life I'll regret.
If you can't trust Gavin with his best friend's wife, how can you trust him with your state?
It's hard with respect to hear from Mr. Allen, who's a devout supporter of Donald Trump, talk about the issue of sexual harassment. And as a
That's true. That's the problem. is that everybody think that their sexual harassment is better than the other ones or whatever. I don't even think Trump really gives a fuck. As long as nobody don't hold him accountable, he really don't care what you think. Just don't vote a particular way as a result of it. Just accept it. Nobody's ever had that approach. That's some new shit. Avoidance and hide shit and hope it go away. He's been right up to now. This Epstein thing appears to be fading a little, but they got those wars on the back burner. Soon as those become the top of the news cycles again, I think he's gonna get past the Epstein thing. The loss of life and the unexpectedness and obviously not knowing how it could end or begin or any of that other stuff of a war. Yeah, that'll push that Epstein shit down the road for a little bit if it ever comes back up again. It's just I don't know, it's just bullshit. We know that there are Democrats. They had the Justice Department over Biden, and no matter whether they released it or not, who cares? I know they read that shit, and if it's some shit in that shit that would stop Trump, hurt Trump, harm is if you're just doing it just to make noise, it's gonna backfire because it has to be something that's harmful to Trump because people will hear that it ain't. It's not gonna be good. And running against, I mean, he won't be running against Newsom, but Vance will. I think JD Vance will be a strong candidate for the Republicans. I think white people like him. I think he has a something about him for that's presidential looking. He looked like he could be a president. Shit, he white, and he's coming in behind Trump, and him and Trump have a decent relationship. Unlike Pence did, he's gonna push this dude up. Who would run with him? Would Kamala be a VP again? I don't think she can. I mean, someone can select her, but I just don't think that would be a good move because I don't think it'll hurt them or help them. They might get in or not get in, whether she's there or not. But to have Kamala on your ticket as VP, with her DEI VP self from Biden shit, just didn't seem like a good move. And I do believe that the Democrats are going to go full white man on us. It's going to be a white man at the head of the ticket and a white man. They got to be able to find a way to get some of the white folks in the country who are riding the fence back over. Now, you know what? Even if, Gavin Newsom get impeached or whatever the hell could happen to him, it'll fall into the lap of a vice president who is white and who we can roll with, because Democrats and Republicans aren't that far. I mean, they really talk a tough one, but shit, if you really break down the numbers and you think that all this talk about, what's this shit that Trump is talking about, taxes, tariffs, whatever, all this talk, you would think by now, you know what I mean? The gas prices aren't much different. The egg prices aren't much different. Actually, I think they're starting to finally at fucking last go down. He said the day of whatever. He ain't shut down the Russian war. He hasn't done a lot of the stuff that he said he is going to do. But I don't think that that's going to hurt him. If he can get past this Epstein thing by hook or crook or however he does it, I wouldn't be shocked if he did, but that's what he's got to overcome right now. And he's pretty good at that shit. I don't know. And he's the president, and he ain't like a shy person. He'll create some shit where it don't need to happen. We might associate it with a cover up or a distraction, but it might be him really over there working his plan. Whatever his plan is, he really has an independent way of thinking, and thank God, I believe he's listening to more people this time than he did the time before. That's why things are running a little smoother. He's kind of saying things that people are saying, like, sir, that probably ain't a good idea. I don't know. Gavin Newsom, you guys, is not the guy the Democrats need to circle the wagons around. We got to do better. We probably need a fresh face. The Republicans got one, whether they liked it or not. But I think the regular Republicans were done with that old Republican Party, and they had a void, and Trump filled it. Someone, well, they did try. They had quite a primary in 2016, 17. That was quite a fucking, I was like, God damn. But I do believe that Donald Trump was revolutionary to them. He gave that party a new look that some of the party missed. They felt special again. They felt like they were being forgotten. He hit them on all the fronts, and there are a certain amount of the Democratic Party that feels that way, and they're okay with other parts of the party helping to win elections, but they're not okay with them getting anything for their support, for their help. I don't get that part. And that's our constituents, our friends. We are under the same tent. We're supposed to be.
Relates to the issue that's been referred to. I was honest about it. I was open about it.
He was honest. And he was honest because of what? Because he got caught. Getting caught and not lying, then it doesn't make you honest. It just means you got caught. Honest would have been to feel bad about it, not be able to carry on and, call a news conference and just tell San Francisco what their mayor has done.
Tonight, the woman Newsome had the affair with, Ruby Rippy Gibney, is defending her old boss. She says he shouldn't be accused of workplace harassment. On Facebook, she wrote this, quote, "To be clear, I fully support the Me Too movement. In this particular instance, however, I am doubtful that it applies." She went on to say, yes, she was a subordinate, but she put the blame on her own choices.
And it's a good reminder how important it is to remind our parents to be good stewards of underage drinking.
I appreciate that. The only other question I have is, it hasn't been a very easy week for you, and I'm wondering whether you have any comment on the Mateer and Ross story about the drinking.
Thank you very much. That was a great cheap shot. You can't.
He said cheap shot. What the reporter was asking him was about the allegation that he was drinking with the underage underage girl. She's a teenager. And he's like, cheap shot. Is that a cheap shot? If there are allegations, should you address them? Should you stand up and be like, that didn't happen? It's nothing to be walking away from or being embarrassed about if you really didn't do nothing. You should be able to just stick to the truth and tell them what happened in the circumstances, and it should clear you, I would imagine. But, what was he in the presence of a teenager for anyway? And drinking. Allegedly. But he got pissed off about that. It frustrated him. Nobody likes to get called out on the bad shit they do. If that reporter had said, hey, we understand that no mayor before you has ever smiled at as many black people as you have, everybody would be like, ooh. And then he would feel, yeah, you can ask me that kind of stuff. We can talk about that. But, politics, you got to be ready. You got to be on your toes. You cannot be flat-footed and thinking that everybody's going to be. Some of them are Democrat Gavin Newsom friendly, and then some of them aren't. And obviously that guy wasn't. He was trying to give you a gotcha moment, and you just walked off.
Help yourself. You cannot. Just know, for the record, it's increasingly impossible to have a conversation.
Mayor was out there. Mayor was out there.
Just know it's not personal when I walk by you. You just send some other reporters. It's going to be a lot easier now.
It's just a little more polished. That's some Trump-like there. That's Trump-like a motherfucker. Just don't be surprised when I walk by you and, don't give you no more interviews or no more time, and I'm the mayor of San Francisco. That's some Trump shit. That's what I'm saying. There ain't a whole lot of daylight between these people, but, we like to believe it is so that we can justify giving our vote to him. But Gavin Newsom can be the next president in 2028. I doubt it, but it could happen. And then what? What do you guys think he's going to do? Restore all the shit that we've been doing already? That hasn't helped us. Any of this shit that Trump took away, or whatever, has it helped us? So why bring back that bullshit? Do something new. Think of something different. Let the people in Africa have their own resources and help them get on their feet and be self-sufficient and independent. Do the right thing. And then we won't have to have US aid for people who all they have to do is dig a little bit under the dirt and they won't need no more US aid. They won't be starving to death any longer. No one is coming into their country and taking their resources and giving them peanuts. And only a small person. That's why they think African nations are corrupt, because only a small few enjoy in the transactions that they make with the outside world there. And that's because they don't give them that much. They cheating the shit out of them. So those few cheat the shit out of all the other people and they starve to death and have civil wars and all that shit. And the United States has got to be a better world partner. We need a president and not Gavin Newsom to come along and black people can really support him. Like we did Obama, but Obama didn't do what Obama insinuated that he would do. He never said a lot of shit. He was a hell of a campaigner. I ain't never seen nothing like it. But we need somebody to come along who's really going to speak to us, and the people around us aren't going to get mad and go, oh, well, if he's going to do that for you guys and I'm not, but but it's okay for us to vote for people because they're pledging to do things for the illegal immigrants. We already know if the Democrats win again, if we vote for them, we're voting for illegal immigration to open back up like it was. We're voting for sanctuary cities to continue to exist, and well, I don't know, I can't say flourish, but they will be there with people sleeping downtown in front of businesses and in motor homes, and it's kind of embarrassing for us to be living like this and okay with this and voting for it, because if we can't tell the Democrats that we want Trump out so bad that we don't want no conditions. We just giving you our vote. That's what we've been doing for decades. That is not right. That's an outlier. We're an outlier. People aren't doing that. And it's very depressing to see that happen to us because we're being tricked in some cases, bullied in others. But it is not a willing act. We're not being willing participants in this. We're being given an illusion. And if we want to fit into this society, we have to get with that program, or being a part of this will be tougher than it already is. How do you justify such a large amount of us being in prison? How do you justify that without understanding that and in clear as language as possible? Everybody knows the undereducation, miseducation, non-education of black men and women in the United States in the public school system that most black people are educated in. And when a black man might require, or a black boy might require more attention, different techniques, usually that isn't available. Suspensions, swats, if they still hit them. Do they hit them anymore? I know when I was in school, the bad kids, they beat the shit out of them. Take that big old wooden paddle, bow! You're like, ugh! And it was something to see when you really think about it. They were swatting kids and shit, but it was so common and normal. That's what they did. They just popping the shit out them kids with them wooden paddles. And we had, back in those days, white teachers in LA Unified and Compton Unified. And can you imagine white teachers swatting black kids? It's not a good look. And they would send that little slip home your parents had to sign to give them permission. And every once in a while, a parent would be up there going off. You hear them coming down the hallway hollering and cursing. I didn't sign that shit. They're like, whoa, hoops. Because some teachers didn't really refer back to who could get spanked or who couldn't. They just call them up and pow. They're hitting girls sitting up there with a skirt on getting swatted. How inappropriate. But we allowed a lot of stuff. We've grown. We become more aware. And we have a clearer understanding of what's going on and what worked and what don't work. And we need to start doing what works. And voting for Gavin Newsom, come on now. I'm going to have some more videos on this because of Gavin Newsom. I feel being a well-polished politician, he might have the ability to get through the Democratic primary part. But no. After that, that's where we need to, like we stepped up because James Clyburn got everybody down in South Carolina fired up and got Joe Biden up back in the race. We are going to probably have to do that kind of thing for Gavin Newsom, but in reverse. We're going to shut it down. And when he go down there, doing one of them generic bullshit ass, I'm about to visit a couple of Baptist churches. We need to be like, no, those are our houses of worship. That's sacred shit to us. No, you can't come in here. Block the door. No, fuck no. Who said he can come in here? I wish I was a pastor of a church. He would not be at my church meeting. Yeah, we would meet him at City Hall, me and a couple of the elders from the church and some of the youth leaders or whatever. We'd go down and meet him downtown. Talk to him about business. Come in our goddamn church when everybody is emotional and praying to our God and not having a moment where we need to be interrupted by some dude coming in for a photo shoot and we look like fools in the backdrop. Not my congregation. Not that I got a congregation, but if I did, shit, if I had a congregation, I wouldn't be letting nobody come in there and use us like that and not offer nothing. And if, that's your church, you gonna get on the mic. I wish they hadn't came to my shit because I'd be like, hey, you know what? We need this for our community. Why can't we get a building with licensed folks, even from our community, to watch children in after-school programs and pay a decent wage so young ladies would like to do that and young men would like to do that and make something like that available so the parents can go to work and know that, their kids are going to be taken care of if something happened to them medically. Their kids are going to be playing safe and overseen. That's not too much to ask. That shit is reasonable shit. We ask for something like that for every community that a politician wants to represent. They got black people in it, and you asking for stuff like that. Like, hey, we want a 60-40 rule. They'll be like, what is a 60-40 rule? Well, 60-40. If we 60% of the population, we should own 60% of the businesses and 60% of the home ownership. If we 60% of the community and we ain't owning the 60%, then that ain't right. How are people who are a smaller percentage owning more than us? I mean, that kind of shit need to be asked, and they need to balance it out legislatively somehow, because they done got us into this shit legislatively. So all they got to do is get the pens going, and they can figure it out. This didn't happen by violence. This just happened gradually as everything settled and fell into its place. We just ended up with some shit on top of us, a whole lot of it. And we need to dig our way out, and they need to wake up and quit bullshitting and quit running for office and expecting our support. If y'all think I'm tripping, I really feel you don't know Gavin Newsom like I do. I live in California. He is our governor. He full of shit. He really is. I mean, ain't no other way. I'm being too nice. Yeah, well, okay, he full of shit. Some of you need to do a little more research, look into him. There's some people out here in California, black people, who feel like they are so anti-Trump. Remember, Trump ain't running in 2028. Vance is. Vance could lose should we run a good person up against him, but he could win too. He's going to be coming in basically the incumbent behind Trump. Trump can't run again. What we going to do? What we going to do? We're going to sit there and continue to hate and vote blue no matter who. We can, but we can negotiate that vote too. And quit letting these people in our churches. That should be making me mad. That's one of them pet peeves I got. Every time I look at the news and I see a politician in a church, it just don't make sense because that's not where they meet everybody. You know what I'm saying? You don't see them pulling up at everybody's churches. Just us, really. They might go where other groups of people are praying, but they're also meeting with the leaders of that community, and they're going to talk about some progress or some things that them people don't have access to, and they're going to, with a serious ink pen, write it down and make some pledges and some deals, make it reciprocal. But with us, we don't even talk about that kind of shit. Maybe like Hillary Clinton, when she went around, oh my gosh, she just thought she was gonna be a shoo-in, dancing with black people, talking about I carry hot sauce in my purse, bullshit like that, and we supposed to fall for that. That's just terrible. I carry hot sauce in my purse. Well, all black people don't like hot sauce. I know a whole lot of black people. If you put hot sauce on their food, they won't eat it. They'll be like, this shit is too hot. I mean, some things are too hot for some people to enjoy. If you can't taste the goddamn seasoning and flavor in it, me myself, I could soak a whole piece of chicken with hot sauce and that shit be good. But everybody can't do that, and I understand that. But Hillary Clinton walking around with a bottle of hot sauce in her goddamn purse, don't that just bother you? That bothered me because that's the Democratic way. It's just they can say dumb shit to us and we good with it. You know what I mean? Kamala trying to bring up the Tupac shit. Everybody black don't like Tupac. Everybody ain't into that gangster type lifestyle, gangster rapping, and you have a couple of verses or a couple of songs that that might be positive to some people, but everybody don't look at Tupac the same way. But they think they got us by just saying in the Denzel, like all black people don't like Denzel. We are not a monolith, except when it comes to being a Democrat, we are. And it scares the shit out of me and it bothers me. And I really don't understand why so many people feel that why are we in a place now where we have to vote blue no matter who, to save ourselves from what? To save the country, to save the democracy, to save save everything that never worked for us. Never worked for us. And it probably never will. That's why we have to carve our own little thing out there. Be like, no, we can't do it. No. Because we can show you too many times when things happened good for all these other people and we didn't cash in or get in on it. And if we did, it was such a small degree that it was obvious that something wasn't right. But we never, ever kicked and complained. We just keep acting like that's just the way it is. It ain't. It ain't. And we got to stop acting like it is. It's time for us to stop that shit, and they'll stop. Because we're not going to play that dumb game no more. When other people are around, they can just look you in the eye and say some shit and it don't even be true. And you be like, yeah. No. That don't benefit us. Negotiation do. And we need to have a clear understanding, should you win and should we support you with our votes, what we can expect. That's reasonable. And right now, as of now, folks, it's a no on Gavin Newsom. I appreciate the support. Like, comment, share, and please subscribe. We see you on the next Black Popcorn.